All right, y'all, it's about to be dark here in a minute. I figured I'd do a quick video. I was watching this video, some guy named Charleston White. I'll put the link to the video that I was watching. And I think that every one of you that sees this video should watch that whole interview, because there's a lot of things that he says in that interview that it's just a lot of things that I relate to, and a lot of things that he's saying is what's really going on. But a lot of us, we're too ignorant to see our own shadows, so to speak. So anyway, what he was talking about in the video, it inspired me to do a video talking about this. But what he was talking about in the video, he's talking about like how neighborhoods used to be for community, and then, you know, a bunch of other things, and then, you know, like Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas and all the drug dealers and their cronies below them came into these communities, and then they were starting to call them hoods and ghettos. And there's people that still to this day, they idolize these men. They idolize these drug dealers. They idolize violence. They idolize selling drugs. They idolize all these things, and they represent these things. Like, how can you represent something that is destroying your own brother or your own mother or your own family? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us, we don't look at it like that. We just look at it like, oh, well, what can I do to make a quick buck? What can I do to make money? And while I'm doing that, destroy the whole community, you know? And that's what I mean by ignorance. A lot of us, we don't even see what we're doing to our own people. We don't even see what we're doing to our own brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and daughters and sons. You know, we all represent this thing, and we all give credit to our idols and these people that we think are so cool because they wear the nice clothes and they're selling drugs and they're doing all this stuff. Can't you see they are? I don't care if they gave out turkeys at Thanksgiving to everybody. I don't care if they, you know, gave you, you know, a bunch of food and filled up your cupboards, you know, a couple times in your life. These guys still destroyed whole entire communities, but yet we idolize them. And we throw up our sets, and we throw up these gang signs and other things, you know, giving credit to these guys, these men and these women that do these things. Now, it's mostly men that do this. It's not, you know, there are women that do it, and there are women that are with their men doing this. So, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's just, we need to take a look at ourselves here, and we need to take accountability for our own lives and quit putting these people on a pedestal and giving them praise and giving them credit. And then, you know, it's all about us all the time. And it's none of us are really reflecting on our own dark shadows and what we really are. And we run away from that. And then we put on this facade in front for people to make it seem like we're not something. And it's just a constant running away from our own accountability and running away from what we're responsible for. You know, it's like, when does it come the time where each one of us says, okay, you know what? I might have done too much of this and what I was doing. Let me take a step back and let me hold myself accountable. I might have sold drugs to my entire community. Let me stop doing that because I'm poisoning the mothers, the brothers, the fathers, the sisters, the grandparents, the children. I'm poisoning all these people. And there's so many people. There's hordes. There is hordes of zombies out here that are just oblivious to what is really going on in our communities and in the quote ghettos and hood. You know, listen, I have a problem with ghettos and hoods. And when people say, I love the ghetto and I represent the ghetto and the hood, why would you represent something that promotes, and I'm not saying every person there, you have to watch the video with the guy Charleston White. He explains it in that video. And if you watch it, you'll see it. If you don't, you don't. But how can you represent violence and selling drugs and your sisters and mothers being prostituted and people gang banging and shooting each other every day and all this nonsense that goes on? How can you give glory to that? See, and I don't want to get into the spiritual realm, but you have something with you that is, it's rotten to the core. It's corrupt. And only you can see that, though. See, it's only you and I that can reflect on that. And when someone tells you that, some people don't have the ability to discern this stuff, you see. And I know for me, it's really hard to explain with people that don't quite understand this. But I have repented and left those things a long time ago. You know, it's almost like I died to the world and fleshly things that I know will never satisfy me. I know that no matter what I do in this life, no matter how many people I step on, or however much money I get, or however violent I am, and I'm saying this in like second or third person because I don't think of this stuff anymore. I used to at a time, but you realize no matter how many things you do like this, all that you're breeding is hatred, more violence. It's hate begets hate. Violence begets violence. Corruption begets corruption. Period. There is no in-betweens with this. And I'm going to be so bold as to say this. Fuck your favorite rapper. Rappers, listen to what most of these rappers are telling you and talking about. And listen to the message that they're saying. Just listen to what's coming out of their mouth. And so many of us, we think that this is cool. We think that this is, everybody's doing it, so let me do it. Let me get involved because everyone's doing it. You see, and this is the problem that I have with promoting myself to others and to putting myself out there, because I know that like 90% of people, you know, I'm just not going to relate because they're on this worldly, fleshly thing that only begets violence. It only begets hatred and anger and so many other things. And it's just not a part of me anymore. It's not who I am as an individual. And I can't let it around me, and I won't let it around me. You know what I mean? I will run from these things if I can. But there's some people, they won't run from this. They'll invite it into their lives. They will say, oh, well, I don't see nothing too wrong with it. oh, well, Frank Lucas and, Nicky Barnes and them back in the day, well, you didn't see their good works. You didn't see them giving out holiday turkeys and filling up people's cupboards with food and helping people with their dental work and their hospital bills and all this. But then at the same time, they were selling poison to your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, and your sisters, and killing so many people and causing so much violence in the city and corrupt cops and all this shit. But oh no, it's cool. They did them couple good things. So, okay, they did the bad stuff too. So we'll just forget about all that. They did that. So we'll idolize them because those are the only people that we can look up to in our lives, because those were the only ones that were around. That's bullshit. That's all a part of the sheep mentality. That's all a part of the slave mentality that this breeds, that hatred breeds, that ignorance breeds, that so many of these things that I'm explaining to y'all breeds. You have to understand, corruption will always breed corruption. Hatred will always breed hatred. And when you allow these tiny things in your life, you're going to realize it's no matter what you do, if you're around it, if you associate with it, sooner or later, you're going to let your guard down and you're going to say, and I'm not telling people to be paranoid, but you're going to say, oh, well, this guy, he's not too bad. He's selling drugs to make it, to get by so he can feed his family and he can pay hospital bills. But that's bullshit. He doesn't have to sell drugs to the community. You don't have to go out and commit violence and hurt people and shoot people and kill people and all this stuff to survive. You don't need to do that. That's an excuse. That is the excuse that these men have been putting on you to make it seem like, oh, well, we're all just human beings and we all do bad things. That's just the excuse to get more money, to get more rich, to live these lavish lifestyles while the community suffers, while our mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and everyone else suffers. And I know all about this because my brother died of an overdose. My Uncle Tim died of an overdose. Gene Duke died of an overdose. Harry Vogel died of an overdose. Joe Smith died of an overdose. I know so many people that died from this shit. And it's almost like we just ignore it. Like, oh, it's happening so much. And it's a shame because it almost is like that for me. It happens so much. And I seen these things and I heard about it so much. I can't even cry for people anymore. I don't even feel anymore. But I still know what this does. I still know what all these things do. I'm not ignorant in this area. I have been in ghettos and hoods with black folks. I have had black friends that, I thought were my friends, that I stayed at their houses and I was around them and I seen things. I've been around different types of people, so I can talk about this. It ain't like I'm just talking about these things to talk about them like I never lived it or anything. Anything that I speak about, I lived through and I witnessed for myself. It ain't something that I'm just sitting here guessing and giving you a statistic on. So if you haven't watched that video, just think about this stuff. Are we that desperate to fit in to what everyone else is doing, even if it pertains violence and it pertains selling drugs to our neighbors and our communities, or messing around with someone else's wife or doing any of that shit? Are we so desperate to fit in that we let that side of ourselves go because, oh, well, we don't want to be the outsider or the outcast or look like a person that is actually willing to make a change in this damn world. You know, so ask yourself that. I'll leave you with that. I'll leave the link of the video. It's Charleston White. If you want to know more about what you might not know, then watch the video. You know, that's what I do on this channel. I give you information that I get myself and that I reflect on myself and that I lived with, I seen, and I did. I was a drug addict. I was into all that shit too. So I know where it goes. I know where all this stuff goes. And it's either death, institutions, or a life of suffering. So with that, just think about it, y'all. That's all I can say. SBN Resonate. Thanks for watching.